Hola. Today on the show, I'm in conversation with Gibbs from Quebec, Canada. He's a teacher by profession, a fitness and sports enthusiast right from his childhood, who not surprisingly gravitated towards the triathlon competitions later in life. The exceptional fact about his story is that even though he started out as a mere competitor in the triathlon competitions, he finally graduated to become one of the top 10 finalists in the world competitions that were held for triathlon and multiple times. He is also a skillful storyteller who recently published his book on his experiences as a triathlete titled My Coworkers Think I'm a Pro. So up next he talks about his experiences as a triathlete and the book that he recently published. So you've recently written a book on your experiences as a triathlete, and the book is titled My Coworkers Think I'm a Pro. So can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Sure. I could tell you, again, like I said, I have it right here. The book I wrote it because when I got interested in triathlon, I wanted to read everything that I could find about the sport of triathlon, and I found that there weren't that many books. There were some, but there weren't that many, and the ones that there were out there were all training Bibles or training manuals, or how to swim better, how to run better, how to be a better beginner triathlete, what to eat as an elite triathlete, which is all very interesting and important and valuable, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted to read something that was entertaining, that would take me through the day of a triathlete. What do you do during race day? What happens in your head during a race? And the funniest part of the book was when I started out, and I still do it today, I make all kinds of mistakes along the way. In training and racing, you do these stupid things, and afterwards you think, what was I thinking? I put all those in the book. Every single triathlete I've ever come across has made every mistake that I have made. And they're all in the book. I wanted to read a book that, as I was reading, I would say, oh, I've done that before. That's what I want everybody to have with this book, and I'm sure they're going to find it. So that's why I wrote the book.
Right. So as a part of your training, do you follow any specific diet plan and exercise regimen?
As far as diet plan, I don't have a diet plan. I'm a plant-based athlete. I'm a vegan, so there's no meat, there's no animal products at all. But my basic guiding principle is to eat foods, and lots of them, but eat foods that are made out of food. So if I can't read what's on the label and I don't recognize it as something that comes from nature, then I don't eat that product. So basically it's a clean, plant-based diet, but there's no specific, I have to have this much of this and that. I don't weigh my food. I don't make sure in a whole day I eat a variety of fruits and vegetables and legumes and grains, so that all my proteins are balanced out. But no, there's no specific meal plan. As for training, I'm on a very strict regimen. I swim, I bike, and I run. But outside of that, I'm also a physical education teacher and a fitness instructor at school. So I do other forms of fitness. Every morning, before I do any workout, I do a mini 30-minute core work. I work on my core, my abdomen, my lower back, and I do activation exercises with rubber bands for my joints, because I'm 52 years old now, so I need to sort of keep limber before I can do all that training. But at school, I teach the kids biometrics, I teach Pilates, a little bit of yoga. I'm not an expert, but we have a yoga teacher, so she handles that stuff. But a wide variety of stuff, circuit training, all kinds of different things.
All right. So, how do you control nerves before a competition? What do you tell yourself the night before you sleep?
That's a very good question. The short answer is I don't, because I'm nervous until the gun goes off. But the longer answer is, when I first started, it consumed me, and I wasn't able to sleep. I just stayed up all night, and it was just a ball of nerves. Now I've done it before, and I can tell myself, look, just you can do this. The distance is what used to scare me when I first started. But now that I've done it, I do more than that distance every day in training, so that doesn't scare me. I want to do my best. I would love to win. Often I win my age group from time to time, but I don't have to anymore. I've told myself, look, what's the goal at the end of the day? I want to do the best that I can do. I want to finish the race with an empty tank. As long as you do that, it doesn't matter what happens. I used to worry about, oh, what if I get a flat tire? And that's going to take up so much time. Well, now, if I get a flat tire, well, I fix the flat tire, and then keep going. I can still do my best. It might not end me on the podium, but it's my best. So just chill, just relax. And that works for me.
So with that, we're at my last question, and that is that if you can say a few words for fellow, people who are training to be triathletes.
The basic advice that I can give to an aspiring triathlete, because I remember what it was like when I wanted to become a triathlete, and I didn't do my first triathlon I decided I'm going to do a triathlon. First one I entered was 2.5 years later. So what I can tell you is just start. You might not be a great swimmer. That's the case for me. So what? Start. Once you start, it's like any habit, good or bad. Once you start it, it's really hard to stop. So just take that first step. Even if you don't think you're any good, it doesn't matter. You're doing it for who? You're doing it for yourself. So take that first step. Run out the door. Doesn't matter, you only make it 1 kilometer, less than 1 kilometer. But just start training. And then once you get into it, then you read stuff. You talk to other triathletes. Go to the races. They're so wonderful. One thing you're going to find is that triathletes are the most caring, understanding, welcoming people on the planet. It actually took me off guard at first. It was like, well, why are you being so nice to me? Like, we're competitors. But everybody's very, very welcoming. Just get on the road and start the journey.
Right. Thank you so much. Those were really great words. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you. And, I understand that your day is really, decided to the T. So thank you so much for taking out this precious time to talk to us. And I hope your book is a huge success.
Thank you very much. Thank you.